In this, my 24th pearl of wisdom during these challenging times for us all, I think it prudent to take a close look at the word leadership with a view to showing its correlation with trust for its effects to make any sense, whether in political, religious, business, or any other secular quarters for that matter. But for this sharing to make any I invite our young ones again to pull up a chair, sit up close and pay attention to developments around us. I recall years ago in my presence, Sir Eric Gairy being told by someone that they are not in politics, and his response was epic. He said, "Because politics is inanimate, you cannot be in it. Instead, politics is in you." I have never forgotten that to this day. When one chooses to make a career in politics, it is instructive that he or she comes to the table with integrity, courage, discipline, fidelity, honor, sharing, caring, and daring, industriousness, perseverance, self-reliance, and of course, truth. When any of these core values would be missing, such a person will be compromised, and the nation they lead will end up on a quick march to hell in a handbasket. So far, some things must be familiar to you. What is trust in leadership? In a leadership context, trust means that followers expect their leaders to treat them well, and as a consequence, it naturally follows that they will be comfortable being open with their leaders. When people trust you, they have confidence in your decisions. Even in uncertainty, they will be influenced by your leadership. Starting with the leader, it takes involvement at every level to create a deep bond of believability that motivates followers to put forth effort needed to make their organization or country successful. Why is trust so important in effective leadership? When your team trusts you as a leader, it increases commitment to team goals. Communication improves and ideas flow more freely, increasing creativity and productivity. Perhaps most importantly, in the hands of a trusted leader, followers are more comfortable with change and more willing to embrace a new vision. When you're a leader, you do not motivate by fear, by choosing weak sycophants whom you can control and thus demand their cell phone number so that you could call them at 4 a.m. to cuss them some big bad words at that ungodly hour, to get them to do your bidding, which is steeped in mischief and misdeed, especially against others you, the leader, do not like. When you're a leader, you do not shut down initiative in a team meeting. When a great idea comes from the floor, and just because it didn't come from you, you sidestep it and then call a private meeting with that individual to tell him or her not to ever float any new idea in my meeting without first discussing same with me, so that I can be the one to table it and call on you to elaborate if and when I feel to. Why is trust an important quality? Trust is an important and tender aspect of all relationships because it requires us to choose to be vulnerable and courageous. When we have learned to distrust someone, it's usually because we've come to understand that what we share with them or what's important to us is not safe with that person anymore. We are seeing this in personal relationships, marital and partnering relationships. We are also seeing it in employee-employer relationships, and over the years in our political relationships with our constituency leaders, as well as elected leaders whom we change at a whim, until within the last 25 or so years, we stopped paying attention to the finer things in life and trust was thrown out the door. Notwithstanding, we are now witnessing an awakening which some consider to be long overdue and is likely to reach a head because of the high level of justifiable distrust which time has calculated for our mostly young and vulnerable population. Let me just take a minute to acquaint you with the 3 elements of trust. Positive relationships. Trust is, in part, based on the extent to which a leader is able to create positive relationships with other people and groups. Good judgment and expertise. Consistency, not the kind that we have been blind to because of our refusal to see it for what it is, but positive consistency that would influence respect. Alison Brattle in 2015 instructed us on how a leader can inspire trust. She said, learning how to inspire trust is a fundamental aspect of leadership development, the importance of which can't be overstated. Without learning to inspire trust, a leader will never get to hear the truth about what's going on in their department, public or private sector, or organization, which is a serious detriment to effective leadership. With that in mind, how can new leaders build the kind of trusting relationships that they need to be successful? Listen to and learn from all followers. One of the biggest mistakes that new leaders make is one that is incredibly simple to avoid: failing to recognize that every employee or follower may have useful information to offer. A new leader will typically meet with those who report directly to them, but few make a point of meeting all their direct reports. To those you lead, you become just one more in the crowd of management faces. How are you going to inspire trust in people who don't differentiate you from any other leader among your peers? The simple answer is that you can't, and that is why it's important to meet with every follower or constituent under your direction. This strategy can provide you with plenty of useful information if you apply a few well-placed questions about what they see as the constituency's biggest advantages and faults, and ask them about the things they'd most like to change. The answers are always enlightening. Communicate your values and vision. You must be value-centered and vision-focused. Part of meaningful leadership training and development involves the development of your own personal set of values and behaving in ways that communicate those values to others. This aspect is crucial because it gives you a foundation that allows you to behave consistently, and consistency of behavior is key when it comes to inspiring trust. A necessary related step is developing a vision and strategy in terms of your plans for the entity that you lead, and then sharing that vision with your direct reports. Sharing your vision can inspire trust because in sharing, you demonstrate your trust in the people who are working for you and who are responsible for helping you achieve that vision. So when each follower understands how their work contributes to the overall goal, they're more engaged and more motivated. When you place your trust in them, they're motivated to show you that they're deserving of that trust. Follow words with actions. Some leaders are good at talking about their values and vision, but fail to follow up with actions that back up their words. In other words, they fail to put legs under their values and vision. Failing to follow through on commitments is the surest road to inspiring mistrust, as we have seen right here among us for years. So it's important for a new leader to keep this in mind from the outset, no matter how tempting it is to make promises in order to placate unhappy followers. No matter who you are dealing with, resolving to make commitments only when you know that you can follow through is the best policy. How about honesty above all? Beginning to inspire trust takes time, and that's one reason why consistency of action is so important. When you behave consistently and with integrity in the long term, you motivate both trust and respect. We have to make an effort to reintroduce our people leadership landscape to honesty once more, as the same level of dishonesty that brought us to our knees as a nation, which after 46 years of independence enjoys a much too high of 38% of our population living below the poverty line, cannot be the same to bring us out of that decrepit situation. Sacrifice has got to be made by the next generation of leaders, and they must be able to sell sacrifice as a mantra to all, so we can change course and move with confidence to the other side of genuine prosperity, never before seen or experienced in Grenada. An important part of behaving with integrity is being consistently open and honest in your communications and relationships. All local followers have become pros at telling when a leader is hedging or hiding truth. and a leadership style in which a lack of honesty and transparency are constant factors is not one that inspires confidence or trust, as we all who have eyes to see can see. How can leaders inspire trust? Having a concept of enough would be helpful, as no one man can have all the answers. As a history dilettante, I can tell you, Napoleon tried to pass himself off as having all the answers and failed miserably. To your unlimited possibilities.